You guys, war is here! Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. So today, one of my most anticipated reads of the year, War by Laura Thalassa, is finally here. I've been waiting for the Amazon link to go live before I posted this, so my links are down in the description below. So War is book 2 in her Four Horsemen series. This is a new adult fantasy romance series that is literally about the Four Horsemen of the apocalypse. So I first discovered Laura Thalassa about 2 years ago. I read her Fallen World series and fell in love with her writing. She's amazing at world building. That series is also post-apocalyptic but not paranormal really. And the hero is quite the anti-hero. So War is the standalone sequel to Pestilence, book 1, which is currently available. This is the original cover before the cover changed to this one. Look how pretty both of them are. So both Pestilence and War can be read as standalones. Both have happily ever afters, different couples. I do recommend reading them in order though, just because you get a better sense of the world, you get a better sense of the horsemen. The last chapter of Pestilence is basically a lead up to War, and the last chapter of War is a lead up to the third book, which is about famine. So Pestilence was one of my favorite books from last year. If you read it, you know that we have been waiting for War for quite a long time. It's been over a year, but the reason for that is because War is one thick baby. So I was lucky enough to get an arc of War last week, and I finished it earlier this weekend. It is probably the size of 2 regular sized books. If you read on the Kindle, then you know about the location number things, and War ends at 8,796. And a normal like 300 something page book is around 4,000, so this book is very long, but trust me, this is gonna be so worth it. It definitely lives up to my expectations that I had from Pestilence. I love both books. I can't really choose between them at this point. So the premise of War is that after the first horseman, Pestilence comes in and devastates the earth, and then sometime later he kind of disappears. The second horseman arrives and wreaks even more havoc onto the world. War basically incites war. He's trying to take over the land in the Middle East. He builds an army based off the people that he conquers, essentially. He gives them a choice of being part of his army or basically dying. So War is not a good guy. He literally kills. Our heroine, Miriam, I love her. She has lost her entire family due to the horsemen. She is a weapons maker and all she wants to do is survive. But as soon as War lays eyes on her, he pretty much claims her for himself as his wife. And she's like, no, that's not happening. He is the most alpha kind of hero that you can read about. I personally loved it just because I love a possessive alpha He-Man hero, but it doesn't go too far. It's not overbearing. It's just that you know he's the kind of guy who is like, my way or the highway, and then the heroine is like, nope, that's not happening. That kind of hero only works for me when the hero doesn't really follow him or allow him to do whatever he wants. So Miriam is basically forced into his camp, his army, not necessarily to fight, but just so he can have her around him. It's not quite love at first sight, but it's definitely claiming at first sight, like she's his and only his. I think the first words that he ever says to her even is that something along the lines of, God sent me to you, you're my wife, I'm claiming you. So if you don't like that kind of hero, this series is probably not for you. These horsemen are very possessive, very alpha. I mean, but on the other hand, it's basically, this woman is the only woman for me. I don't want anyone else. And that's the part that appeals to me. You can definitely see his character development and actions pretty much change once he as he gets to know Miriam and understand humans a lot more, it's hard not to fall for him. Like every time he does some small gesture, like a hand on her cheek, he'll like put her hair behind her ear. Every time he calls her his wife, I swooned hard. I knew I probably shouldn't be about this kind of character, but I loved it. I mean, I fell in love with Pestilence, the guy who brought disease and illness into the world, so I didn't really expect to not love War 2. So the book is long. Like I said, it's about the size of 2 normal-sized books, and this is good for the pacing of the story because you don't really expect the heroine to fall too easily for this kind of character, you know? Like the romance development was very genuine, I guess, in terms of falling in love with one of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. So let's talk about the steam. So this book is sexy. If you read Pestilence, then you know. Laura Thalassa is pretty good at writing steamy scenes, especially with these, you know, otherworldly beings. War is essentially a sex god. He is huge, muscled, carries a giant sword. If you've seen on my Instagram stories, I posted some quotes, and one of them is when she goes down on him and she's like, oh my god, I can't believe I just swallowed this I can't believe I just swallowed this Horseman of the Apocalypse's jizz. Their chemistry is off the charts. Like, you know, he wants her so bad, but she definitely doesn't make it easy for him. What can I say besides that this book is amazing? Laura Thalassa sucked me into this post-apocalyptic world. It's definitely going on my favorites list for the year. I love fantasy romances like this with an alpha hero and a badass heroine who gives as good as she gets. The hero is that love to hate and hate to love kind of character. He's not a good guy, but you love him anyway. So if you've ever wanted to read the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse and witness them basically falling in love and their hearts getting slain by human women, read the series. Don't forget to pick up Pestilence. I'll leave both links in the description below. And let me know if you read the series or any of Laura Thalassa's books. If you ever want to read more about the Four Horsemen, and if you ever want more fantasy paranormal romances about the Four Horsemen, and you've already read Pestilence and War, you can definitely check out the Lords of Deliverance series by Larissa Ione. It's one of my favorite series. Book 3 about death is my favorite. So now that I've finished War, I basically need the next book, which is about famine. I'm excited to see how Laura Thalassa will write out his story and make us fall in love with this guy who basically starves the human population. So we'll see about that. So let me know if you've read Laura Thalassa. She's great. I highly recommend her books. Or let me know what are some of your favorite fantasy romances. I'm always on the lookout for them. I'm definitely going to do a video featuring my favorites, so be on the lookout for that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Subscribe if you want more romance content, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!